That last round was particularly bad. I was playing as the counter terrorists, and so I was running around like, oh, we gotta get rid of the bad guys and everything. And then, what ended up happening was we lost, and it was a shit show. Oh boy. So you can see my neat avatar right there. I'm the only one with a cool avatar. Everyone else are just shitty normies who put their face in their fucking Steam avatar. These people have no class whatsoever. Zero taste. Is this... Am I one of the counter-terrorists? I don't even remember. Which one did I choose? I think this guy is against me. Wait, no, he's a friend. Oh! Apparently he is against me. That's how that works. Honestly, I kind of hate living in this house. Is that for the last couple days, I've been so bored that I've been staying awake unintentionally. I didn't mean to, but I've been so bored that I've just been pacing around listening to various YouTube videos that I've already listened to before and recording so many different things that I'm probably not even going to release, writing blog posts for blogs you guys don't even know about, just doing things. I've just been going back and forth and doing things, and none of it feels particularly substantial. None of it feels like something that means something. I living in this house feels like I'm in a perpetual stasis. Like the mechanisms for movement are there, but they're unable to move because they're chained to the ground. That, being here feels like I have the potential to do and make a lot of things, but because that potential can't fully be realized, because of when I go outside, there's nothing to do, there's nothing to film or anything like that, and I don't have access to, other people to work with. It just feels like there's lots of things that I want to make that I can't make while I'm here, or lots of things that I want to do that I can't necessarily do while I'm here. And it just feels weird. Like, it just feels like I'm really, really bored. So, I keep making a bunch of videos again and again, and a lot of them just feel kind of the same. Like, a lot of them feel like the same points that I've been making, like I'm treading the same waters, and I know I have different types of things that I want to express, more experimental angles to take this channel, but I just don't have the setting for it. I can't go out and make a vlog about, I don't know, eating food at a restaurant or something. I can't rearrange my room to have a bunch of posters and make it labyrinthine and cool, and because it's a small room. What are you going to do in here to make a set for a video that looks cool? You can't. Um, and so I don't know, it feels like I have all these ideas, all these goals for things I want to do and the person I want to be, but I feel restricted by this place that I'm in, that I'm kind of stuck here, and there's not much that I can do about that. Um, it's like there's this constant need to progress forward, and because of where I am, I'm being forced to not do that. I've always felt this way. When I was living at my old house, the house that I lived in for 16 years, I felt the exact same way. Is I always felt like there were things I wanted to do, things I could do in theory, but because I was living in this restricted environment where when I went outside there was nothing but trees and there were no people around, essentially, the only neighbors we had were super far apart from us. Um, and, the area we were in was kind of dangerous, like this area that I'm in right now. Actually, there was one specific time where a pedophile tried to prey on me. Oh no, when I was a kid. That was pretty funny. And then there was another time where I almost got attacked by a really big dog, and I was pretty small at the time. The dog was like biting, and it was freaking out, like it was ready to attack. And I was doing everything I could to seem calm, not seem combative, because I knew some of the strategies you're supposed to do when you deal with like a big scary dog. You're supposed to seem calm. And it was like freaking out. It was a hunting dog, and I knew that specific person that lived at that house. If you look at their house, there's lots of deer, hanging from the outside of the cabin. They're hanging from the trees and stuff, and they're just out there. They're just raw deer hanging there, and skulls and stuff in the yard. And so I knew that they were kind of the hardcore types of people that would have a dog like that was a hunting dog that was meant to kill things. And luckily, the guy comes out of the house and he tells the dog, hey, get over here, get back in here. And then the dog leaves me alone. But if that guy wasn't home, and if he didn't hear that the dog was barking at somebody, I could have very well been attacked. And so the few times that I actually did go outside, I got really scared to do it because I just had so many bad experiences. And when those bad experiences didn't happen, it was super boring because there was nothing to do. It was just trees, it was just grass. So, I've always felt this way in some regard. Like a few places that I've lived, I felt a bit more freedom, like I could go out and I could go see things and do things. Now here it's basically the exact same feeling that I had when I lived at that house that I grew up in. Um, I'm instead of being restricted by trees this time, I'm restricted by the ghetto. When I go outside, it's dangerous. I see on the news, the local news, all the time that there's people getting raped and shot and stuff like this, and it's not a good look at all. And so I'd rather just not go out, but I want to. That's the thing, is that I can just go out in my backyard, but when I go out in my backyard, it feels like it's distracting me from working when I'm working in here. But when I'm working in here, it feels like it's just distracting me from the fact that I want to do other things. And so which one do you have? Are you just going to work on videos all the time because you're so bored, or are you going to go outside because you're so bored? But when you go outside, you just get bored again because you realize that you're in a restricted environment where you can't really do anything. There's only so many times you can consume media in a day until eventually the media becomes rote and uninteresting. And I know this is very like a dumb problem to complain about. I'm self-aware about that. A lot of the things that I do complain about on this channel are really stupid, but it just feels boring, And I am arguing from a position of privilege, is that like I can afford these books that I've read, but once I've read them, I can't afford more books. Or I can afford internet to go on YouTube and watch lots of YouTube. But a lot of the YouTube that I watch is stuff I don't like. I'm lucky to have a computer that I can play video games and stuff on, but like I just play CS:GO and TF2 again and again, and then I get bored. And what do you do about that? What do you do about having a bad attention span? It's like I do study a lot, and studying definitely helps with the boredom, but I can only study so many hours in the day. You see, like, if you just do those same things every day, those same couple of things, that I am very lucky to be able to do, eventually it just feels like you need more. Like you want to do something else. Like you know there are things that you can do and that would be good to do right now. Like there are ideas for videos I have right now that I could go out and film if and if only I was in the right environment to do it. If I could, you know, go out without it being a risk. And it is a risk, so I can't. And I want to experiment more and make more creative types of videos. I want to go out and eat more food and try different things because I barely eat. You can kind of tell I barely eat. Um, and there's food here. I just don't remember to eat very much, but I've been trying to eat more lately. It's just that we eat a lot of the same things all the time. It's the same things. And you know, I was taught when I was very young, no matter what, you have to always eat what's in front of you, as I feel bad for wasting food. Is because when I was little, we didn't have a lot of food in the house. And so if you wasted food, it was like a sin, you know, it was a crime. If you waste food, it's a terrible thing to do. And so I'm very conscious about that. When I see people wasting food, it actually makes me a little bit upset because when I was little, I was forced into a mindset of you have to eat everything that you have because if you don't, then you're going to be hungry. You know, I would only get so much. I wouldn't be able to eat enough to have a proper diet. And so I would have to eat everything on my plate. Um, and so, you know, I now that there actually is food in my house, now that we can actually afford food, I get into the habit of not wanting to eat it because I just go, oh, well, whatever. I can just be on my computer all day and I'll forget. You know, I think I've gotten so used to it. So I've gotten so used to the idea of not eating from when I was little that I trained myself to deal with the hunger pain and just not focus on it. That now it's actually a habit of mine to not eat. Even when we have food, like we have food all the time here. Or then I give another excuse like, oh, it's boring. It's boring food, you know, it's not interesting. There's not enough flavor. What the hell kind of excuse is that? It's food. You should eat it. You know, I say stupid things like this all the time. Um, and I get so bored. It's always just getting bored is the problem. Um, it's not that I'm sad, you know, I'm not getting sad or depressed or anything like that. It's just a lot of boredom and longing to do things that I am not currently able to do. And I don't know, it sounds really bitchy and dumb, but it's always on my mind, you know? Like I don't know how to stop feeling this way. You know, like I can sit here and I can say, "Oh, I'm arguing from a position of privilege and I have all these great things. Why don't I appreciate them more?" And I can say that all day, and I do. I tell myself that constantly. But at the end of the day, I still feel like I'm missing something, that I'm bored, that I should be able to go outside and do things and see things and eat food and meet people. And I don't know. And there's certain videos I want to make that I just can't make, that I have ideas for them, I just can't make them. And so I'm just making kind of the same things again and again, always treading on the same ideas. It feels like I'm in a stasis, like I want to move forward with my life, and I just can't, because I'm stuck here. And I've only got like one more year of being stuck here as I just turned 17. But it still feels like an eternity. You know, I've waited this long. I remember when I was 13, plotting, when I turn 18, I'll be able to get out and I'll be able to be independent and do whatever I want. I thought all the time about that. And that was back then. And see, now that I've gotten to this age, and you know, it's been 4 years since then, I see how much progress, how much time I was willing to wait through. And I'm just counting the clock until the next year ends. Well, everybody, it would seem I've gotten older today. It's finally the day I've turned 17. I've been hyping up this day for quite a while now, complaining, not so complaining, but it seems it's here. You know, I remember when I turned 15, I did a vlog just like this, where I was walking around my room and I talked about how I enjoyed the day so much because I spent the entire day working. That was really important for me at the time. The idea of spending an entire day just working on one thing. Because I've always been a pretty bored person. I get very bored throughout the day, and the only way that I can really deal with that is by putting all of my energy into one thing. Recently, I've been practicing Estonian. Now, you may think that sounds pretty insane because I've been practicing French and Korean, and I've been all over the place. And I know both of those languages to varying degrees. I've had a lot of conversations in French in text, and so I've learned a lot about different words, how to recognize them, but I can't necessarily pronounce them very well. I can read them just fine, but I can't say them too well. Korean, I can read the alphabet, and I can speak a little bit, but it's not super great. And then with Estonian, I just started it out, and I've just been obsessed with like the culture and the country and learning about the grammar of the language because it has cases similar to Russian. Thankfully, it doesn't have grammatical gender, but I've been all over the place, you know, just learning all of these different things, reading all these different things. And that's the way my mind operates. That's how I think. Because if I didn't do that, I would be extremely bored and I wouldn't have anything to do. And it feels satisfying to be able to get something like that done. And so I was remembering back to this video I made where I talked about the experience of joy that I got from making things, from doing things on the internet, or just rather doing things in general and then feeling accomplished from them. And now at this point, that video would be 2 years old because I was 15 at the time when I made it. And then I thought about when I turned 16. I didn't make a vlog about it. I tried making a vlog about it, but I had so much trouble speaking, and I was judging every word that came out of my mouth, and so I was unable to make anything talking about it. But I tried many times, and then I just deleted all the footage. But I was really depressed when I turned 16 because I thought it was a sign of me getting older, and I haven't achieved enough, and I haven't done all these goals that I wanted to do, you know, that type of nonsense. And I was really depressed. I was really depressed about the fact that I turned 16. And then I put that in contrast with the vlog that I made when I was 15, and I was like, wow, I spent the entire day working today. Wow, I love to work on one thing. You know, and specifically in the case of that vlog, what I was doing was I rearranged my entire room. I was really into just rearranging the room and moving the furniture, and it looked better after it was done. The furniture was moved in different places than you had previously seen in the videos, and I liked the way that the videos looked post furniture move. I still think the room was kind of aesthetic after that point. The only problem was that I didn't have a door at the time, and so the videos looked a little bit weird. But yeah, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about me turning 17 now, and how I feel about that at this point. Because at this point, I just see it as more horizons expanding. You know, I have another year, which means more things to do, more things to work on. It hasn't really changed from when I was 16. I still have the same set of targeted goals, albeit with a bit more clarity now. I have more of a plan. But it's more or less the same thing. It's no new year, new me stuff. It's more like new year, let's continue practicing the things that we've been practicing all this time. and with more depth, you know. There isn't, there isn't a thought that I can give that would somehow summarize everything that I've been feeling, because what I've been feeling isn't entirely complex. I kind of passed the complex stage where I was like, oh, nihilism and life is so bad and all this other stuff. I passed that part. I thought through it and I stopped thinking that. And so, what do I talk about after that point? What do I say? Like, it feels like it's just a progression of the things that have already been happening. And, I hope that when I turn 18, I'll have even more, I'll have even more that I'm building upon, because each year it's just another block. When I turned 14, I had a lot of very specific goals as it pertained to YouTube. I achieved those things. When I turned 15, I had even more. Achieved those things. When I turned 16, I was kind of slacking, but eventually I achieved those things. And now that I've turned 17, there's entirely new horizons on the platform to focus on. And that's what I'm really excited about. Because that's just the kind of guy I am. I've spent almost the entirety of my 15th birthday just finally cleaning up this room and moving things around. Now, I've wanted to rearrange for quite a long time here. I wasn't a fan of the way the original setup looked, but things were much easier to get to back then. There was much easier access, but aesthetically, I didn't think it looked good. So, what I've done here is me and my mom, we just moved everything around, and I put in 2 new posters, and I think it looks pretty nice. It was a good haul getting, those new batteries that I'm using this camera with, the capture card for the Let's Plays, and a new game. So, yeah, I think this was a pretty good year, in terms of just getting stuff done, you know, because I don't think I've ever done this much manual labor on a birthday before, nor did I enjoy it as much as I have. I mean, I'm just becoming that kind of person where I need to be working a lot. I need, to have productivity progressing. And this day went so much better because of the productivity that I got done. Even though I didn't really make any videos, just in terms of how the videos are going to look, and how they're going to sound and see, thanks to the new equipment that I got, you know, it really makes me happy inside. So, yeah, thank you to everyone, who's wished me happy birthday. It feels really good, and it was a great day. Even though I didn't really get like too much, I just feel incredibly accomplished with the work that I got done. And that's a big enough reward for me, to where I don't need to get a whole bunch of fancy gifts if I could spend the time on my day, working hard. And I did, so it makes me happy. Anyway, see you all later.